Hello Tube Dwellers and welcome. I'm the Arcadean and this is Mabinogi Duel. So, over the last couple of days I've received a lot of requests from people asking me to do decks on Snake Tamer Nicholas, decks on Golden Garden Cat, and I figured, hey, why not take both cards, combine them into one deck, and see how it goes. As it turns out, surprisingly well. So let's take a look. First of all, as you can see, it's a fairly well-balanced deck, predominantly interested in the early and the late game. We don't have too many mid-range cards in here, but that's because we don't really need them. So we start out with Elephant, standard 1-cost nature drop, and Elf, standard 1-cost light drop, light elf of course. And then Holy Missile for a 1-cost removal, always a useful card in a meta that has been consistently dominated by the Dark Camp. Next up, we have Goblin Bomb Squad. Very good defensive unit with a decent attack value as well. Very handy to have in any deck that runs gold. And the same sort of thing for Goblin Shredder. Excellent for counteracting those nature cards, of which we will start to see quite a few, I think, now that Snake Tamer Nicholas has become something of a crowd favorite. Very good as well for dealing with elves and elephants. Drop the Goblin Shredder down and the elf and elephant will die. Goblin Shredder remains on the field. It's good value. Next up is Command Hunting. With all these low-cost creatures in our deck, plus Snake Tamer Nicholas guaranteeing a snake in the center, Command Hunting works out better for us than the standard Nature Hunt. Next we have Golden Garden Cat, one of my favorite cards, if not my absolute favorite. With a 2-cost and 7 effective HP, it meets standard HP breakpoints, which means that it cannot be removed for less than its cost by any spell. It also has a decent attack value at 2, 4, and 6, levels 1, 2, and 3, but its ability is what makes it absolutely phenomenal. Ignore the doubles gold if it's 4 or more, that's not technically correct. What it means is doubles gold resource gain, so 1 + 1 will become +2, +2 will become +4. But the Golden Garden Cat is the only creature, the only anything actually, in the game currently that is a universal resource generator, and that makes the Golden Garden Cat a major threat. Your opponent either has to use a removal spell to get rid of it, in which case they've used an action, they've increased the grave cost on the spell, and they must use another action in order to revive that spell back out of the grave in order to use it on any other of your creatures. Very good trade for the Golden Garden Cat, given that, you know, either it gets removed, in which case everything that I just said happens, or it doesn't get removed, in which case you start generating resources like crazy. Very good card. Next, we have a Light Hunt. I like this better than Surprise Attack because, again, we've got so many low-cost creatures out onto the field. Chances are our opponent will be playing creatures to block, not playing them offensively. So Hunt works out well there. Next up is Betrayal, just to get any large creatures over onto our side of the field, utilize their ability, utilize their attack damage, try to get a little bit more attack off. Again, with low-cost creatures like we're running here, we don't have any heavy hitters, so Betrayal allows us to steal our opponents. Next up is Iron Tiger. I put this guy in basically just because I find him fun. You could replace him with Flame Emission, which might arguably be better, but I enjoy Iron Tiger. He's useful for pushing creatures out of the way, for dealing sort of a nice little area of effect damage, and he can polish off weakened creatures very nicely. Okay, next up we have Snake Tamer Nicholas, the card around which the deck is built, or at least one of them. Anyway, Snake Tamer Nicholas is a really solid card. People are calling him the new number 13, and yeah, I can see why. When you're playing Snake Tamer Nicholas, always try to play him on one slot to the right-hand side of center. This protects him against both Hunt and Flame Emission, both of which he is extremely vulnerable to otherwise. It also means that any AoE, that is Area of Effect spell, will kill the snake before killing Nicholas, which means that Nicholas will in fact activate his ability, and the snake will come back out onto the field, meaning that an AoE will not in fact clear your field of creatures. Very handy. Finally, we have Capture. Just like Betrayal, this is for dealing with any large creature that we really want the ability of. Betrayal we use when we want the attack value, Capture we use when we want to keep the ability, or when there is a huge threat on the other side of the board that we don't want to immediately go back to our opponent's side after one turn. Capture, very handy here. So that's the deck. As you can see, a lot of low-cost creatures, a few high-cost cards. The idea is to ramp up to level 3 as quickly as possible, but don't be afraid to hang out in level 2 if you feel that it's more strategic, and even drop a Nicholas down there. It can be really difficult for people to deal with. So, all that being said, let's dive into a match and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. Battle 1 against an Asian player, looks like, using the default hero with 1 mutant. Mana, Nature, and Dark. Let's see. Okay, so opens with a blue Moonlight Well. Quite interesting. Resource generating deck. Okay. Well, we can't really deal with that with any spells, so we'll ignore it for now, and we'll drop an elephant and see what happens. He's thinking about it. He's not entirely sure what he wants to do. Okay. I can sympathize. Okay, so down goes the Garden of Life. Yeah, he didn't really have any. Well, he didn't have any resources to remove my elephant unless he wanted to use a firebolt. So we'll use Holy Missile to take care of the Garden of Life. I think that was. I always forget the name of these things. Alright, so it looks like his deck is very strong on the resource generation, building up mana and nature. Okay, Kadir's Flying Sword comes out, an excellent 1-cost drop, one of my favorite CGC cards right now, very, very powerful. So, we will ignore that for the moment because we can drop Iron Tiger in on our next turn, and that'll take care of the Kadir's Flying Sword. It unfortunately won't kill the Moonlight Well, but it will weaken it just in case we can do some extra damage on it later. So, Tiger comes out, kills the Kadir's Flying Sword, and remains on the field. A difficult presence to remove, given that he meets breakpoints. Just to guard against any potential hunt shenanigans, we'll drop the Garden Cat in there at level 2. It's going to be giving us 2 resources every turn, so that's going to be nice. Now, he's been building up mana, so I have to assume he's got some sort of mana-based AoE. Ice Spear is most common, but Firewall or Meteor Drop could also be a thing, given that he put cards on each side of the field. But any of those 3 is equally likely. Alright, so he charges up, it goes into mana rather. Are we going to see an AoE? If we are, it's not going to kill Tiger, but it will kill our 2 little creatures. Which is actually fine. We've got enough nature now that I kind of want... There we go. I kind of want the AoE to come out right now, so that when we bring out Nicholas, he won't be able to do anything to him. So he doesn't have enough resources now to deal with Nicholas effectively, so we'll put him there on the right-hand side of center to protect against Hunt and other AoE spells. And we'll charge up, try to regain a little bit of our lost resources. Given that this guy is using 2 resource generating cards, I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I'm assuming he's got a lot of high cost cards in his deck that he needs the resource generation to reach. So we're going to play a little aggressively at level 2 now, as you can see, and just try to do as much damage to him before he can get all the resources he obviously is looking for. Alright, so he charges up twice. That's perfect for us. That's going to give us 12 damage, taking him down to 6 HP. He'll be able to level up next turn, but this is going to really hurt the HP growth on the level up. So he should be able to level up to, what, like 8 or 9 HP based on his current one. Death Ray comes out, very interesting, and unfortunately it kills Nicholas first. Dang. If it had killed the snake before Nicholas, that would have been perfect, but can't have everything, I suppose. Yep, he levels up, he gets 8 HP. We revive out of the grave just to drain his HP a little bit further even, and now we have a whole bunch of choices. So we'll charge up, just see where it went. And we'll drop the Golden Garden Cat. He does have enough resources to remove it with a hunt. But again, we almost want him to do that because we have a good amount of gold and we're building up our nature again. So if he uses the hunt now, he won't be able to use it later. Mana Xena. Okay, interesting choice. So yeah, another fairly high cost card. And he drops hunt. Okay. That's no big deal, really. We can just betray the Mana Xena, and that will give us fatal damage on the board. Because he can't even block Mana Xena with a creature. So, Xena comes down, he can use Hunt again to get rid of the Manazina, but at that point he would have no nature resources left, no way of removing any subsequent creatures, and we've got more than enough to now bring out an elephant or possibly even charge into Nicholas. But if he tries to block Xena with a creature, all we need to do is command hunting the creature or whatever else we feel like doing. Really, get rid of it. We can drop a creature of our own. We could discard into light, drop our elf, and then drop command hunting if it turns out to have more than 8 HP, but it shouldn't, because Xena's ability will activate and petrify and hypnotize it. Yeah, good. Okay, so if he was going to drop 2 creatures to try to prevent that from happening, then we would have had to discarded, played the light elf, and so on and so forth. As it is, we don't need to, and we just charge up and land the finishing blow. Excellent. Very nice. So, Nicholas not landing the finishing blow there, but ensuring that we did get the victory by luring out that big removal spell of his. Always nice. On to the next fight. Kitty! And that was Snake Tamer Nicholas and the Golden Garden Cat. Both cards I really enjoy. They're a lot of fun. They're very good, very solid. I am praying that devCAT does not take yet another nerf hammer to them. Please, don't do it, devCAT. We really need some good cards here. So, if you'd like to try the deck out, and I strongly advise it, it's a lot of fun and it's quite interesting, there's the deck code up in the top right hand corner as always. So that's it for this video, and that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to all the Arcanauts who have subscribed so far. Until next time, have fun and good luck.